Well, hello there. How are you? Today I'm going to be shaving with this. It's a RazoRock V2 electric blue razor. And in there I have one of these. It is a Feather Professional blade. And I believe those are from Japan. My soap is going to be this. It is an original formula Wliams Mug Soap. It's got a price tag on it still. It was 34 cents at Walmart many years ago. And there you are. And I've lathered up in this little scuttle. And I've got my puck on there. And there's the scuttle there. I'd like to get one with a bigger spout so I could soak a bigger brush in there. But my brush is going to be this. It's a used kind of a no-name brush. I don't know how old it is, but it says on here that it was made in Israel, and then it's got some numbers on it that I don't think necessarily correspond to a date, 1833, whatever that is. But it lathered up pretty well. I'm going to put just a drop of water on there. I'm going to see if I can lather this up. I hope you're all doing well out there. Oh yeah. Now that is the old formula Wliams Mug Soap. The packaging looked so similar to the packaging of the current version that I was wondering if it was old enough that it was before they changed the formula, but I'm actually getting a lather here. Not much of a scent on this, but I can tell you with some certainty that I've never gotten a lather like this with Wliams Mug Soap, not with the current formula. It's just a darn shame they don't go back to the regular formula. I would be willing to pay a little bit more. That might be a little dry. I could have wet this a little bit more, but that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and try to get started here. Wet the razor. And here I go, pass number 1 with the grain. About a day's worth of growth, or just under here. I showered a little earlier, and when I hopped out of the shower, it seemed like what whiskers I had were standing straight up and ready to go, although I don't know if you'll be able to see any whiskers I have on this camera. And also, well, the older I get, the whiter the whiskers I have become. Gonna rinse the razor. Yeah, no dissipation here. Smooth, easy going so far here. I'm very happy. Excuse me again. I got this mug soap and this brush in a small lot, which also came with a Schick injector razor, but I've got a Schick injector razor, so I'm probably going to give that razor away to a friend of mine. Someone I've gotten into this hobby. Third use on this blade, by the way. Still humming along pretty nicely. The only thing I feel like I did really wrong was when I took that scuttle out there to look at my clock on my radio out there, I spilled a bunch of the hot water because Especially because this is an older and kind of a hard soap. I wanted to lather it for a full minute, I should say. And I must have held it at an angle or something. I spilled half the water from the scuttle onto my carpet. No harm done, and it's certainly not a plush, expensive carpet I have, so. And I heated that water up in the microwave, and if I go more than about a minute heating water in that little scuttle, it boils over, or begins to. I put it in for 2 minutes originally, and most of the water boiled out of it, and I had to clean up, well, not a big mess, but I had to wipe up some hot water on that little plate that turns in the microwave, and dump the rest of the hot water out of that, because paper towels weren't cutting it. And speaking of cutting, I'll be back, well, I hope I don't cut myself, but cut some more whiskers, and I'll be back freshly lathered for pass number 2, across the grain. Okay, it's time for that second pass across the grain here. And here we go. Using kind of a light touch. Somebody's, oh, I just got a message that somebody posted in one of my shaving groups. Don't know if you could hear that little ding, probably. Kind of, excuse me, kind of a wide head on this razor. It's actually a 2-piece razor, I guess you could call it, because, well, unless you count this, check this out. This thing here actually unscrews. And you can have like a hollow handle, shorter razor, a little bit lighter, and then you can put that back on there. I usually use it like this. In fact, I always use it with this bottom thing screwed on so I don't lose it. Still good luck with this soap. I did put a little bit more on my brush here. Okay. I forgot to mention, before I started this shave, this time I prepped my face with some of the Lievre Blanc shaving oil, and I left that on there for about 5 minutes, and I let that soap sit on that scuttle for a while so it could soften up, and I put a little thin layer of warm water on top of it. Usually the first thing I mention is whatever pre-shave I've used. Okay, I'm going to pop back in, freshly leathered for pass number 3, against the grain. Okay, now I'm guessing this brush, I don't know for sure what kind of knot this has on it, but I'm guessing that this is a mix between boar and badger. I have an old Colmac brush that I think might be the same. I never could figure out exactly what kind of bristles it had on it, but I'm gonna go out on the clothesline and say this is probably a little bit of boar and a little bit of badger in here. And the knot for an old used brush, which by the way I did sterilize this in some barbicide. I left it in there for about half an hour or more, but and I don't think it's hurt it any. But the knot was not misshapen, as are some of the knots you'll find in older brushes that'll cause you want to get the handle re-knotted. And I don't know if this bottom part is lucite or what it is, but kind of nice. A no-name brush from Israel, but it's pretty nice. I'll commence here with the third pass against the grain. And let's see. Kind of taking care of some business I should have taken care of, I guess, earlier in the video, telling you more about the products. And then, of course, I'll try to recap later on. I'm not really showing you what I'm doing here. It's kind of leaning the other way there. Excuse me. Now in the future, maybe later on this year, if I ever get around to it, I may get me a little micro memory card and start doing my videos on one of my older phones where the camera doesn't go in and out of focus automatically. And then since this phone has a lot more storage space, I could, I guess in theory, put the memory card in here and upload from this phone. We'll see what happens. I had a few extra pennies from heaven, nothing like I had earlier in the year, and nothing like I normally have at this time of year when the pennies from heaven are supposed to arrive. But I went a little bit nuts buying shaving products. Alright. And I did go and I took the puck out of this little mug. I'll show you this mug again. I keep pointing to it, but there's the mug again. Kind of pretty. Got that on Etsy from a vendor. And if he still has anything left, I'll put a link to him down below. If he's got more of those mugs or whatever, or well, scuttles, I should say. And anyway, I took the puck out, put a little bit more water in, put it in the microwave for a minute to kind of warm up the puck some more. See, here we go out of focus. That's the only problem I'm having with this phone, and there doesn't seem to be a way to set it so that doesn't keep happening. So I do apologize for that. Otherwise, in theory, you're seeing me on a better picture, I guess. But I don't know. The boys in the lab, well, you know, they kind of overdid the autofocus or something on this camera. I guess I'll choose to be sexist and just say the boys in the lab, because that's actually kind of a compliment. Means no girl, no woman can be this stupid, I guess. Excuse me. The Walmarts around here don't sell this stuff anymore. Maybe online you can get it, but they probably get it through another vendor. 34 cents. So I'm going to guess this soap is probably at least 40 years old. Very likely, judging by inflation. Stuff's like 99 cents at other stores, but you can't find it in my immediate area. You have to go to one of the bigger communities, and then you won't find it at Walmart. You'll find it at certain grocery stores. One in particular, and of course that's going to be the newer formula. It's not going to lather up. as easily, or at least if you do get a lather in your face, it usually dissipates pretty quickly with a new formula. Now, let's see, I got quite a mail call today. I didn't take a picture of it, but I have several new products and things I'd like to use in upcoming videos. Products from several different vendors and sources, and other new things on the way. Yeah, I guess the only problem making a video and using a single edge razor is I have to rinse twice as often because you don't have that other side of the razor to use. Other side of the blade. Okay, well, I'm going to lather down here and come back to you for pickups. Alright, it's time for those pickups, and here I go. It's been a pretty nice shape so far. I always do have these trouble spots, and now that I've finally gotten my friend Dave into this kind of shaving, he has, I think, similar trouble spots, some of the same issues. But I'll see if I can't just make these a little bit better. These places that are hard for me to get BBS. Well, this is what amounts to my first shave of the new year of 2019. And I thought about doing a shave earlier in previous days, but I kind of wanted to wait until some of my new products and or gear showed up, or software and hardware. I call hardware gear and I call software just products, although sometimes I'll use the term products interchangeably to also mean, well, hard and software. But I guess gear would always be hardware. Let's see how we're doing here. Pretty good, just a few more little touch-ups here if I can get to them. Not too bad. This is at least going to be a good shave, a darn fine shave, if not BBS. I don't know how crazy I want to go. Well, buffing. Or buffing in the more general sense of just going over the same spot or spots over and over. True buffing, as I've said before, is evidently, as Jill at She Shaves with Jill told me, I think it was her that told me or mentioned that, I know it caused me to go look it up. Yeah, technically it's kind of going like that, over the same spot over and over. But let me do a little, yeah, that's pretty darn close to BBS, and I'm not going to go too crazy because I tend to get irritation under there. In fact, you can see it, my face is kind of red right now, but, and then part of that's the light too, I guess, because I look in the mirror and my face isn't nearly as red as it is when I look at it on this camera. So, anyway, I'm going to rinse the razor and my face and the brush and everything off, and I'll be back with our good friend, Mr. Towel. Here he is, 5-time Grammy nominee, our good friend, Mr. Towel. Whew. I keep getting, not messages, but I keep getting notifications pop up on my phone here. I may have to just leave the notification tones off when I'm making a video here. Yeah, this is nice. I think I'm going to go straight into recaps and to put the finishing touches on the shave here. I'll just put Mr. Towel back where he goes, and we will continue here. Well, first of all, and I'll try to do this in an order that makes some sense, off camera, before I started here, I prepped my face with the Lievre Blanc shaving oil from an Etsy vendor in Quebec. And my razor has been this RazoRock V2 single edge electric blue razor. My blade in there on its third use has been one of these. I believe it's from Japan. You can see the pictograph writing on there. A Feather Professional blade on its third use there. Okay. My soap has been this, a vintage puck of Wliams Mug Soap, which was originally 34 cents before any applicable taxes at a Walmart store. Original formula. Here's what the other side looks like without the price tag, but you might just be able to see that. It says 34 cents on there. And I lathered that up in this little vintage scuttle. And my brush is right here. It's it's a no-name vintage brush made in Israel. You might just be able to see that there, where it says made in Israel. And then a knot, which I'm guessing is probably part badger, part boar, and which has held its shape pretty well, considering this is supposed to be a used brush, and I guess not just a new old stock brush, but a used brush. I sterilized it in barbicide before I used it. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? I don't think so, well, if I do, I'll try to remember later. And I'll reach into magic cabinet number 2 here and get out the Equate Witch Hazel, which is also a Walmart brand, Equate. You can get this stuff for 89 to 99 cents at a lot of Walmarts. Maybe $1.09 or more in the big cities on the coasts, but go ahead and apply some of this. 14% alcohol by volume, so there could be some sting here. Not too bad. Maybe just a touch. Oh, that's pretty nice. Go ahead and wipe my hands off and reach over here. I'm going to be using the Master Blue aftershave right there. I'll uncap that and pour a little bit into my hand here. And that's probably enough, probably more than enough that I got there. Kind of work that around just a little bit. And I'll go ahead and put just a little bit on the wrists as if it were cologne. A little behind the ears, and I like to put some on the temples, but it's going to go everywhere anyway. On my face and neck anyway. Yeah, there is some sting there, but as they say, I guess that just means it's doing its job. Pretty nice. I'll go ahead and put the rest on the old t-shirt here. And finally, I'm going to finish up with something else that's kind of inexpensive and nothing too fancy, but the Arko Men Extra Sensitive Aftershave Balm. Put that on. I'm sorry I'm going out of focus here. And I'll put just, I think that'll be enough. That's probably more than enough right there. As a general rule, this stuff a little bit goes a long way. But I've been trying to put extra on my neck because, like a lot of gentlemen, I do tend to get irritation on my neck, and this time I tried not to overshave, or at least I tried to use a lighter touch. I think I might get just a little bit more of this balm, because I'm going to put some on my forehead and back of the neck and so forth. Usually it doesn't take too much, but even on the eyelids, just keep them closed, you know, while you're applying this. And then I might be overdoing it a little bit, just a tad on this balm, but it feels nice. That's about it, folks. I'm going to try to get out of here before this video goes too long. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you always for all of your support. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll try to be back with you soon, and peace.